The de Havilland Tiger Moth, a classic vintage biplane and unmistakable aviation icon. Used for training pilots during World War II, the Moths spread their wings throughout the world, but when production ceased, the bottom dropped out of the market and the Moths faced extinction. Now a die-hard band of collectors and enthusiasts have restored many to their former glory.
8,500 were made, just over, and about 1,000 survived, but in many different conditions, flyable, museum aeroplanes, projects and so on. Around the world, probably 600 to 700 Tiger Moths are airworthy at any one time.
And a fully restored example can now command a price between $100,000 and $150,000, although planes in need of some attention can go for a lot less. But beware, it's never a clean-cut investment. Pick a particularly ragged wreck, and the cost of restoration could be double the final asking price.
It's more interest and labour of love, I think, would probably be. To do a complete rebuild, it's not something that you would say you're going to walk off at the end and think you've made a sound financial investment, that's for sure.
But it's easy to understand their appeal. Modern aviation may give us air conditioning and, of course, air hostesses, but for the true romantic, nothing beats a ride in an old Tiger Moth. Chocks away, Leon! There is also a profitable spin-off industry in aviation extras.
Annually, hangar, maybe $300 a month, insurance, maybe $4,000 a year, depends if you're a good or bad pilot. And then hourly costs. And hourly cost not only is fuel, maybe perhaps $90 to $100 an hour.
Another group profiting from the upswing in vintage aircraft interest are flying schools.
It'll take the average guy about 45, 55 hours to actually obtain his licence from scratch, and at an hourly rate of $300 an hour.
One major factor behind the resurgence has been the Tiger Moth Club. With a global headcount of 1,200 members, it can buy in bulk to drastically cut the cost of essential spares.
One owner going to one manufacturer equals an expensive bill and probably lots of trouble. But if the club goes to a manufacturer and gets a whole batch of spares made at the same time, we get the price down and the availability is there and will be there for as long as we want it.
A recent trend in the industry has also been towards group ownership, which is a much more affordable way to get a foot on the fuselage.
If you have more than one owner, then obviously you're probably going to get more utilisation, so the cost per flying hour is much reduced. The standing charges are still there, insurance, hangarage, maintenance and certification costs. The only extra is the fuel.
However, the essential cogs in the engine are the restorers themselves, who craft almost every part of the aircraft by hand. Most are enthusiasts working from little more than a shed, grass runway and a solitary windsock.
The only way to make it work is to find someone of the same ilk as yourself with the love of it, and try and find someone who wants to be a benefactor both to you and the airplane.
But at the same time, their value is steadily increasing, so it may not be long before they can at last begin to pay their way.